So before we start the Grapple Asia podcast episode, we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors and people that support us. Softspot.Açaí. Kat has a little store now in Tonglo, and they do some incredible acai. It's sugar-free, no preservatives, and they have little pop-ups around the place. They had a little pop-up in Paragraph and M Quartier recently, but they're mainly based in Tonglo. They're available on Grab as well, and they do some great dairy hybrid options as well, and their nut butters are incredible. The pistachio one I highly recommend personally. Our sponsor is fightaesthetic.asia, and if you use code Grapple Asia, you'll get 10% off everything except from the alpha gi. So thank you to Aesthetic for always supporting us. And we actually do also supply them in Thailand with free shipping as well. Another shout out is our new sponsor, Khine. They do homemade Burmese food for delivery. They're available on Viber and Facebook. And they do things like mohinga, coconut noodles / onokawsui, and they're available for delivery. And then our last sponsor or supporters is Staline.food, and they do high protein prepackaged meals, frozen. They do protein drinks as well that they can deliver. And if you use StayRate50, you'll get a little discount on delivery. And I highly recommend some of their flavored yogurt chicken protein drinks. They actually go down a lot easier than you think. So thank you very much, Staline.food. So this is Grapple Asia episode number 22. I hope I got that right. And this time around, we've got a special guest, Mr. Craig Hutchison. He used to coach out of Carpe Diem BJJ and Jiu-Jitero branch. And he's just visited Bangkok because he had one grappling match recently against one of the Thai national team captains, and he won by 2-minute armbar, flying armbar. Would you call it a flying armbar?
It was almost flying.
It was almost flying armbar.
It was meant to be.
Okay, well, we'll give a flying armbar then. So yeah, thanks for coming on, Craig.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. So when did you start jiu-jitsu?
See, I actually don't know.
Oh, really?
I think I started around... Actually, I started with MMA.
Right.
When I was visiting Japan. Mm-hmm. There was an MMA gym near me. And I was training there like just on summer holiday with my family.
And then you got into it.
And I went back to the UK and I wanted to train MMA, but there was no MMA. There was just a jiu-jitsu gym. Mm-hmm. So I went to my local jiu-jitsu gym and I trained, but I didn't go back for like 6-7 months.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Mm-hmm. But I was around 17.
Right, okay.
So I've been training about 9 years.
Wow.
But yeah, eventually I did go back and carried on training. So
yeah, so technically you're Scottish-Japanese, but
yes,
it's British-Japanese.
I just say British.
Yeah, British, yeah.
Scottish by blood, but I was raised in England. So
there you go.
I don't have the accent that you have.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I used to have an American accent until I got... I moved to Scotland when I was 12. I lived in Japan all through and up until then. And I ended up moving to this small town called Thurso. Now that's like the very north of Scotland. Like I can see the Orkney Islands from my bedroom window, basically, yeah. And obviously it's like local, right? So I got that accent. I got the American accent being out me to a certain extent. So so where did you first start training in the UK? What was the team?
I was training at Gracie Baja in Bath until I was purple belt. Yeah, I got my purple belt from there. Yeah,
and you moved to...
I moved to Edinburgh in Scotland, and I was training with Rick Young.
Right.
And yeah, I was there for a year, just over a year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good times.
So in terms of like starting at 17 and that, my question is, did you like come back and forth quite often from like UK to Japan?
No, not really. I came to Japan like twice. I first came as a blue belt, and I met Thomas there. I don't know if you know Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah. And all the other Haisan was there too. Iwasaki was still there at Carpe Diem, back at the old Hiro branch.
Yeah.
And I trained there maybe 2 years in a row, just against summer vacation. Yeah. When I was 19, 20.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What was the reason for moving to Japan?
I mean, honestly, to do jiu-jitsu. Like, there was no other reason.
Oh, really?
When I first went as a blue belt, Thomas asked me. He was like, "Oh, you should move here." Like he's so nice at doing that. He's really always welcoming and like trying to give people opportunity. Yeah. But I wasn't ready. I was 19. Yeah. And I said like I need a little bit longer. And then when I was 21, I was like, yeah, I'm ready now. Yeah. So literally like 2 weeks later, he was like, like come start. I think I messaged him end of November and we started in January. Right. Like I was already teaching there. So
wow, that's fun.
Yeah, he's really trusting. I really appreciate that side of things. But yeah, basically just to do jiu-jitsu and because I had an opportunity to teach at Carpe Diem Jiu-Jiteros and also train as an athlete and compete there. Yeah. So
yeah. How does that structure work? Because like I don't really, Mishka didn't really explain the old school, like back when they only had 3 branches in Tokyo. But like, how does that structure? You have an X amount of classes, and then you have X amount of training hours for yourself, basically, or?
So pretty much the only thing that is set is the classes you have to teach.
Okay.
So it's very hands off. Like they really trust you to train by yourself.
Yeah.
If you're underperforming with your results, like someone will speak to you, but for the most part, they trust us to train when we need to train. So yeah, like I have to teach a certain number of classes a week, and then during the day, I'm basically free to train however I want. I can do jiu-jitsu, wrestling, weightlifting, rest.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty hands off in that sense.
Yeah. How many classes a week were you coaching?
About 11 to 12 hours. So kids classes included.
Kids class included.
Yeah.
I get nervous around kids.
Teaching kids is the best and the worst.
Yeah.
But,
so how's your Japanese, by the way? I forgot to ask you. Are you like native? Are you fluent or?
I'm fluent, not native.
Right.
I would
There's
say.
an accent.
Definitely an accent.
Right.
Definitely
Okay.
an accent. Because I mean, I basically grew up only speaking Japanese to my mother at home. And
of course.
I mean, I'm really grateful because I didn't have to study.
Yeah.
But then my Japanese is not very academic. I struggle with like the keigo and the business things. But I can teach in Japanese and I can converse.
Yeah. Was that a little bit difficult at first when you first moved to Japan? Like
for sure,
yeah. Because like sometimes when I see like I forgot what sleeve or collar means.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But like I think a lot of guys in jiu-jitsu are very like forgiving and they understand. Even if you can't say the right word, they can see the body parts and stuff. And after you've been there for like 1-2 months, you start to create your own language and your students can understand you. And
yeah.
you know, like it's even the same with the Brazilian instructors. You know, their English isn't always the best, but you can understand what they're trying to say, and you kind of learn their way of speaking English. So
Yeah.
you get around it.
So did you have like coaching experience like prior to moving to Carpe Diem? Was it just like?
Yeah. Yeah, so jiu-jitsu wise, I was teaching kids in Bath
Right.
for a little bit. I taught the odd adult class here and there, but mainly just kids.
Yeah.
But before that, I was teaching gymnastics for 6 years.
Yeah.
I used to be a gymnast until I was 13.
Okay. I stalked your IG a little bit. Your sister's an Olympian, right?
Yes, yeah.
Gymnastics as well.
She was doing rhythmic gymnastics.
Right,
I did
okay.
artistic gymnastics.
Wow.
But yeah, she's in Paris right now doing some media stuff for the Olympics.
All right. Yeah. The opening ceremony was lovely.
Yeah. I honestly haven't seen it. I missed it because I was competing at one of you, but I'm guessing something didn't go to plan.
Just watch it.
All right.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything too controversial because I'll end up getting like I'll probably get some criticized or whatever. So in terms of like jiu-jitsu and starting at that age, like what have you enjoyed the most about jiu-jitsu?
It's just so different to any other sport. Like especially my main 2 sports, I was doing gymnastics and I did a bit of rugby at school. Gymnastics is a very individual sport. You know, it's just you out there. Same as jiu-jitsu, really. But even when you train, it's just you. You know, with jiu-jitsu, you cannot train by yourself. You always have a training partner. Rugby is the opposite, like big team sport. But yeah, I just think like jiu-jitsu is so cool because you just meet all these different people.
Yeah.
Everyone's there for different reasons from different backgrounds, but like no one cares.
Yeah.
At that point, like some other sports, they can be a bit stuck up and like, you know, a bit exclusive.
Yeah.
But for the most part, from like what I've been doing in jiu-jitsu is, you know, the complete opposite, and everyone's so open and friendly and inviting.
So in terms of like training in the UK and training in Japan, is there like any like distinct differences that you've noticed?
Yeah, I think like what people would always ask me, like, oh, you go to Japan, like everyone must have killer judo, right?
Yeah.
But it's normally the opposite.
Yeah.
Because in Japan, all the good judo guys, they just do judo and they make a living from that.
Yeah.
And all the Japanese guys are all like really flexible, berimbolo and Delhiva guard players.
Yeah.
Lots of like speedy passing. I think the biggest difference is like I'm classified as a big guy in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm only 77 kilos.
Yeah.
And I go to the UK and like I just get squished in half by like, I remember like in Bath as well, I'd train at the lunch class. And I don't know if you know about like builders in the UK. They can basically take break whenever they want, right?
Yeah.
Because they get the project done.
Yeah.
So they'd all come to lunch class, and there's all these like big Polish builders, and like they just twist me around and snap me in half. But it teaches you good guard retention.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But my back definitely feels better training in Japan than it does when I train in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the difference I saw when I moved to Thailand and I trained in Japan as well. With the UK, you get the hardy, bearded, big guys and they smush you, basically.
Yeah, a lot of people pass on their knees in the UK. In Japan, most people stand up. They don't really pass on their knees.
Same with Thailand as well, actually. Oh, is that more like a liability thing in the UK because there's not as much space, or?
Maybe that too.
Yeah.
But I think they just realize they're more effective because they're bigger.
Yeah.
They don't have to move. I don't know.
Yeah. I do distinctly remember most people passing on their knees now that I think about it. All right. So, so in terms of like ease of living, which country do you find easier to live in?
Oh, definitely Japan.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love living in Japan. Yeah.
Just because... yeah.
I don't want to get into like all the politics, but I think the UK is just like the cost of living is a pain. It's nice having a car, but you need a car to go anywhere. Even in like the big city, even living in Edinburgh, you need a car, right? You can't
100%.
rely on the bus. Like I don't have a car in Tokyo, and I never will need a car living in Tokyo.
Yeah.
For me, like that gives me so much more freedom. I know it sounds the opposite, like you have to rely on public transport, but when it's cheap and easy, like yeah, I love getting around by train.
That's true. Thailand's pretty good in that you have the bike taxis, and then obviously you have the taxis as well, but then the BTS system is quite nice as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of like translating Thailand, it's quite nice. It's hot sometimes, but yeah, in terms of ease of living, Thailand's pretty nice as well. The bikes can be a little bit risky.
Yeah, I drove past a bike accident on the way here, and I was like, I'm glad I'm in the taxi, not the...
Yeah.
The last time I came in February, I was taking the grabs every day. And like, I remember the first time they gave me the helmet.
Yeah.
And then the second time I was like, oh, where's the helmet?
Yeah.
And then he kind of looked at me like, and then he like got off the bike, took the helmet out. And then the third time I was like, okay, I'm just not going to ask.
Yeah.
And they never offered me the helmet again.
As long as it's a short distance, it's not that risky. If it's like let's say you're in a hurry, it's Friday night traffic, and you need to, let's say from here to like Lumpini Stadium, for example, that can get a bit sketchy.
Yeah, anything more than 20 minutes, I was like, go in the car.
Exactly. Yeah. So what have you enjoyed the most about Thailand so far?
Pad Thai.
Pad Thai, yeah.
I mean, it's great. Like, the food here is so cheap, so good. I mean, the food in Japan is good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, also, I feel here is like, it's kind of chaotic, but everyone is so happy. And like, I don't feel stress. I don't feel pressure.
Yeah.
Whereas Tokyo is like,
you do feel a bit of
the
that.
opposite. It's like, it's orderly, but there seems a lot more like societal pressure. No one really cares what you do here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very free.
That's what I like about it. But you were teaching here for like a month over at the Carpe Diem, right? Yeah. How did you find that?
Yeah, it was nice. Like one of the things, well, the first thing I like is that the class starts at 6:30 p.m. And we end at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Like in Jiugaoka, the last class begins at 9:30 p.m. and people are there till 11 p.m. and then they wake up and they'll start work again 5, 6 a.m. Yeah,
that was the thing that always caught me off. Was everything kind of starts early, but then everything finishes late as well. And just because of the way the work culture works in Japan, the evening classes have to be a lot later.
Yeah, no one would show up at 6:30 p.m. if we started then, unfortunately.
Technically, they finish at 5 though, right?
Technically,
right? Man, that's one of the reasons why I just couldn't live and work in Japan. I tried it for a year, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, but I got lucky with my gig. Like I wasn't, having to abide by that strict structure.
Yeah.
But like the class structure was good. The people were chill. Everyone was like super coachable. Didn't have any issues teaching. Again, like good mix of Thai people and expats as well. Yeah, it was a really good.
It's a new gym, relatively new gym in a new area, so it's going to take a while to start getting like developing colored belts. For example, at Arete, we've been around since 2013, 2012 maybe. So it's quite well established now, basically. So we do have quite a lot of people.
But I found like teaching at Carpe Diem was easier than it would be to teach at Arete because you have such a variety of people in your class, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I basically just had white and blue belts every class. Yeah. So it's a lot easier to like tailor what they're learning or what they need to know or where their gaps are. Yeah. Whereas if you have a black belt and white belt in the same class, sometimes it can be.
It does get, different. So one of the things that made it much easier for us is we started a fundamentals program. So it's like a 16-week cycle.
That's great.
It makes it so much more easier. So they get the fundamentals down. When they feel they're ready, they can move over to the all levels class as well, basically. Yeah. So, so have you, in terms of like, you're only teaching at Jiugaoka, or did you move around to different gyms teaching classes as well?
Pretty much just at Jiugaoka. We used to be affiliated with the Hiro branch as well. Yeah. So we would sometimes teach there or during Worlds or something when we're short-staffed. We'd switch around, help each other out. Yeah. But I mean, the whole Carpe Diem is, everyone is friends with each other. So like if they needed a sub-instructor, like we'll go and help. Yeah. But I was based, at Jiugaoka just teaching there.
Yeah. I remember Ishikawa was saying after a while, it was really hard for him to, you can't control everything. Like if you have 3 gyms in like a close proximity like Tokyo, you have control over it. But once it started franchising a little bit more, he found it really hard. But what I found really, what I found really interesting was their first international branch was London.
Yeah, right.
And that guy couldn't speak any English, which was quite shocking as well. I was like, man, you got to have some balls. Because I can understand Western brands coming to Japan, but I've never seen a Japanese brand moving internationally as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joshi's doing really well, though.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And he's been going a while now, I think. I don't know, maybe 7 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting as well. Like, for example, I think the more developed the country, I feel like the Carpe Diem brand seems to thrive in those kind of areas. Like Manila's quite well developed, Bangkok's quite developed as well. But apparently, like in Singapore, I think there's going to be a 4th branch opening quite soon.
Oh no way, really?
Yeah. So Singapore is just like it's huge now. Yeah. I mean, the aesthetics beautiful as well.
Yeah.
So
I think they have a really good coaching program there as well, from what I've seen.
Yeah, they do.
They're doing really good things.
Yeah.
So yeah, good for them.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy about that for them. Yeah. The question is, another question is, why did you choose Japan to pursue a career in jiu-jitsu instead of like, let's say like UK?
Yeah, right. I mean, for me, when I was living in the UK, I didn't really feel like I had any options to live just doing jiu-jitsu. Like, that was what I was most surprised about when I visited Carpe Diem as a blue belt. Like, there was other blue belts and purple belts living at the gym or like living just teaching jiu-jitsu. And I didn't even know that was like possible. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, like there's a pathway to do this. And I think in the UK, if you have a good black belt looking after you who give you some class and give you a salary, it's possible. But I mean,
it's not as structured in terms of like having proper employment and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
and like, you know, I live comfortably in Tokyo, just through a salary doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Carpe Diem also has a really good setup of helping the the athletes get private lessons and stuff, which is, you know, pretty much key to making a living out of this.
100%, yeah.
So you can sell seminars and instructions and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just found like life-wise there was more opportunity to progress in Japan than there was in the UK.
A little bit more structure as well.
I think now as a black belt, it might be easier to open a school in the UK and make money that way, make a living that way. But I'd rather live in Japan because I like living in Japan. So yeah.
Yeah. I felt as well when I first started like learning, like having you potentially on as a guest as well as checking out, and it's just like, well, you've got the X factor, you can speak Japanese and English as well, so that's definitely going to like have more demand for you as like a coach in Japan as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised like how few people in Tokyo even are teaching in Japanese and English, or even the websites is predominantly all Japanese. Because actually, when I first visited Carpe Diem, I almost went to Triforce first.
Yeah.
The reason I went to Carpe Diem, even though it was a little bit further away from me, was because they had an English website and because they had foreign instructors like Thomas and Haisam were on the website.
That was never a thing until Carpe Diem actually like started, basically. Right. Yeah.
I think even now, a lot of the other gyms, they don't have
not really
too many people. I know there are a couple other English speaking, like bilingual people in Tokyo now. But yeah, it's far and few between, especially if you go outside of Tokyo, it's pretty much all Japanese. So
yeah, that was one of the reasons why I ended up going to Kamata, because like Yuji speaks like good English as well, right? So it just makes me more comfortable to train there as well. Yeah. All right. So so in terms of like competing, well, I mean, you've competed quite a lot. I mean, have you competed more in the UK or have you competed a lot more in Japan?
Honestly, probably in the UK because, I was there till purple belt. And a blue belt, I think, is really important. You compete a lot. So I was competing like at least every other month, sometimes every month, depending on the season. But then I moved to Japan in January 2020. So then there was no competitions for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So I didn't, and then I was teaching. And so I only basically did the big competitions like the All Japan and the Asians. So like honestly, since getting my black belt a year ago, I've only competed 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like your last color belt competition was...
I did the Asian Open at brown belt, then got my black belt. Then I did the AJP Asians this year, and I just competed on Friday.
How did the one grappling thing come around? Was it Shams there? Yeah.
Yeah. So Shams took over from me at Bangkok, Carpe Diem. And then he asked me to fight at 70, but I was like, I can't do 70 kg. So especially not like, I could do it the day bore if there was a water cut, but they have no, you have to pass hydration
testing. Yeah.
So I said I could do 77. And then he said, I'll find you someone. And then it kind of went from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was super lucky.
Yeah. It's a good opportunity.
Well, like I had to say yes. Like there was no way I was going to do it. So.
Exactly. Because I think the other 2 Japanese people I've seen compete was that guy Toshiyasu Sagai, and he's under Imanari, I think, but he opened up his other gym. And it was Ishiguro as well, right?
Yeah, but they fought each other, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They came to visit Sagai-san, he visited during the trials. So we had a lot of Australians, we had a lot of Japanese people coming in, just training through basically. We had, there was a seminar with Levi, basically.
Yeah.
They did one at Carpe Diem. He was asking to do one at Arete, but we were a little bit like seminared out, basically.
Yeah.
If you want to like make a profitable seminar, if you like as an athlete, for example, Phuket's where you're going to make the most money, because if you see the monthly pricing, for example, for a monthly membership in Thailand, it'll average anywhere between, let's say, 4K to 5K in Bangkok, because it's mostly 9 to 5 people, and Thai people are starting to train as well. But in Phuket, it's so transient, so you get a lot more travelers coming in and doing like training holidays. But their monthlies, like, it can be anywhere between 8,000 baht to like 11,000 baht.
Really?
Yeah, it jumps up because it's like, and like even with like Bangtao MMA, for example, they have like packages where you can have a photographer following you around when you're like training like MMA and all that kind of stuff as well. And
that's smart though.
Yeah,
that's more expensive than Tokyo.
Oh, it's way more expensive. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, the drop-ins are relatively cheap in general, but
is it mostly expats then and travelers?
It's everyone that just wants to come and train MMA down there, basically.
There's not many locals, I guess.
There is a few schools, but yeah, the economy there is mostly based off of like tourism. Phuket's just huge for tourism as well. And another market that a couple of the gyms have now tapped into is the Chinese tourist market, which is huge. Yeah, so they have Chinese translators at AK Thailand, for example, and I think they made like a whole separate gym area for Chinese people, because apparently they come in packs, basically.
People who train, or like people who have never trained before, and they give them like I think it's a
mix. I think probably it's going to be people that just want to, like, since they're in Thailand and they don't really, they're on holiday and they're learning how to do Muay Thai and stuff like that as well. Yeah, but yeah, so mainly most of the tourists go to Phuket, I reckon. Some people might go up to the mountains in Chiang Mai, for example. There's Pattaya, which is seen as kind of like a red light town, basically. But you have a couple of the super gyms down there because like the land prices are quite cheap. So you have Fairtex down there, for example. Yeah. In terms of having like a successful, profitable gym, I think Phuket's the only place you can do it. Bangkok, they've tried it, never worked. Pattaya, the land's cheap, so it kind of breaks even, I think. I think Evolve's planning on opening up a gym, but I don't know if it's going to be Pattaya or Bangkok yet. Yeah.
Because they're huge in Singapore, right?
Yeah. But then from what I understand, though, like, they hire coaches, but apparently, like, the work-life balance is pretty crappy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently, like, you've got to teach anywhere between 5 to 8 classes a day. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you're teaching properly and you're planning all your classes,
there's no way you can do that with 8 classes a day.
Like that's more than a full-time gig.
Yeah, basically. So it's almost like the coaches would like make themselves a cup of coffee, make one of the guys do the warm-up, and then you come up and teach a couple of techniques, and that'll be it. I don't think, in terms of like having high-quality coaching, there's only a certain amount of classes you can do a week before it starts to drop off as well, right?
Yeah, same in any teaching scenario. No?
I think so. Yeah. When did you like, you're coaching gymnastics? Was that in a university you were doing that, or was it like a school or?
Oh no, so living in Bath, I was basically doing gymnastics from my childhood, and then I just started teaching where I was training gymnastics.
Right.
It's like the local gym in Bath.
Yeah. And then what made you think, I can maybe teach jiu-jitsu as a full-time gig?
I didn't, honestly. I went I went to uni and I was like, oh man, like not really enjoying this. And I wanted to do something else. I wanted to do jiu-jitsu. And then I came across Carpe Diem, and again, like I saw like people like
it's possible to do it then.
I remember you know Keito and Makoto?
Yeah.
Like those two, Aoyama and Hiro, and I saw they were just purple belts and 1 year older than me, and like living this lifestyle, and I was like, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So then I started to think, okay, how can I move to Japan, and then like what else can I do to make it afford afford my living and stuff. So
from what I understand from Ishikawa, though, like before that, apparently there was no structure like that at all. Like,
yeah, I don't think so.
There's the whole like coach student thing, and you should be grateful that you're teaching classes, but there's no one getting like a livable wage, basically.
Pretty much.
So I think that's
you kind of like teach a couple classes and get to train for free.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I think honestly, now looking back on it, or like giving advice to younger belts now, I think actually that's sometimes better, because you can get burnt out if you're teaching, training, and like studying jiu-jitsu all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes it is good to do another job and kind of forget about jiu-jitsu and then just really focus on your training and not focus on like trying to teach other people too, because that will take a lot of energy if you want to do it properly.
100%. I think the people that coach can definitely sympathize. I can definitely sympathize with that as well.
But now in the UK, I'm seeing it more like people coming through from blue and purple, getting kind of like kind of apprenticeship style, like, you know, learning how to teach, learning how to market yourself on social media and stuff. So, yeah,
you definitely need to try and stand out for sure. I think that's one aspect that like it's kind of missing, because not a lot of people are really good at marketing of themselves. But in general, like high level people that do jiu-jitsu in general, they're not the most like social, like, yeah, because like we've had some high level athletes coming through like just to train and stuff like that, and like, right, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, you get why they're so good. Right?
Yeah,
like that you have to sacrifice something to achieve something, right?
So it's nepotism.
You said it, not me.
yeah. So in terms of like going like living in Japan as well, do you have a lot of interaction with like for example Ishikawa or like the other athletes? Do you guys have like a set time where you guys all train together basically?
Ishikawa-san I don't really see at all. If I need to see him, I could see him, I can message him, but I know he's a busy guy doing lots of different things.
Yeah,
but he always steps in when he needs to. But the athletes, we pretty much all gather at Hiro because it's the biggest gym, and then we train every weekday 12:30. Basically just spar for an hour.
Yeah.
And then people are drilling or teaching or doing whatever throughout the rest of the day. But it's good because recently, because I switched to nogi for this match, I was training at Aoyama instead.
Right.
Because those guys, Makoto, Sera-san, those guys are doing more like a nogi.
Yeah.
But then before Asians, I was just training at Hiro doing gi. I try and go to other gyms as well in Tokyo. I try and train with as many people as I can.
Yeah.
I go to Igloo sometimes as well.
You know, I heard good things about Igloo. Yeah.
So you know, I think it's important to get good training from different body types and different styles. So.
When I did the interview with Kent, actually, that was the most interesting thing for me. Is like he used to be like a berimbolo guard player the whole time,
right?
And obviously competed under 66 as well. And I remember it was just after the which one 2019 ADCC was it? Yeah, 2019 ADCC. And I remember it was just after lost the first match against one of the Miao brothers, and then he started like bulking up, right? And he said to me, in order to get good training in, you have to go around to different places. You can't just stay in one area to get good training in. Japan, the transit's good, but he was telling me how he trained a lot with MMA guys, basically.
Yeah.
Because I think the way the culture worked is you either did BJJ, which was gi, or if you're going to do nogi, train mostly with like MMA guys, because the grappling methodology is completely different. And he was just saying, I feel like MMA grappling is a lot more real in terms of what jiu-jitsu or what grappling is. And I found that really interesting because, I mean, if you're a small guy playing on bottom the whole time and you've made this transition into more of a like what the trend is now in jiu-jitsu, basically. Yeah, it's
so different, and it's something that I lacked as well. I think coming through the color belts, training with more MMA orientated guys, because it's so hard to get on top and stay on top. Or even just hold the back. You know, these guys are so good at back escapes. So that's something I want to do more of. Yeah, I started to do a little bit like this past month doing nogi. Yeah. But yeah, in Japan, I think there's good MMA. They get mostly smaller guys, but they don't really train in the gi. But if you want to train with them, definitely it's good practice.
Yeah, it's definitely good, especially when you're trying to learn how to stay on top or like try and control the guy, because that was the whole. That's where the trend shifted. I remember listening to JRE and Danaher talking about like the one thing missing is like your ability to keep top position and keep top position, what was it? Yeah, keep top position or try and keep people down, basically, because there's that unspoken agreement. One guy's playing bottom, the other guy's playing top. But if the bottom player just wants to get up, how are you going to keep them down? You know. Yeah. So yeah. So good. Like I spoke about this with Joseph as well. But do you study instructionals?
I did for a while when I was coming through the colored belts, and then I'd say from around brown belt until maybe very recently, I didn't watch instructionals for like almost 2 years.
Oh right. Okay.
Maybe 3 years.
Yeah. So you're just teaching out of like what?
No, I would study matches instead of instructionals.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because I studied a lot of instructionals, and honestly, like a lot of it doesn't translate.
No, it doesn't. No.
And people are good at selling what they market. And they'll, during their instructional, if they're going to release one on triangles, they will really overstate how important like triangles are or something. And then like, in the instructional, you kind of get sucked into, this could work, that could work, and like maybe one or two things work, but then it doesn't always work the same way, you know. Like, so at the end of the day, you have to get in there and do it live. Yeah. So I thought I took so much more from studying matches, and then studying my own tape as well, and just training live, basically. Yeah. In terms of here's another good question actually. So so you find that
studying matches work better? What kind of specifically? Which matches do you watch apart from yourself? Like,
probably watch myself the least, to be honest.
But is it like IBJJF or is it?
Yeah, basically, if I'm training in the gi, I'm gonna watch who are the best guys at what I'm doing right now. So I'm not watching ultra heavy. I'm watching lightweight, middleweight, featherweight.
Yeah.
Like the 3 classes around my weight class.
Yeah.
And seeing like what is working, why is it working, like what are the trends? Because there are always trends in jiu-jitsu, and I think it's important to stay like on top of them. Okay,
so who are some of your favorite guys that you like watching?
For me now, I mean, especially after the last Worlds, Mayram, he's so good. I used to watch a lot of Levi as well, like for guard retention and stuff. Langaka, Espen. I think, I like a lot of the guys, mainly guard players, but like explosive. I mean, Mayram's not a guard player, he's mainly a top player. But I like those kind of explosive guys. Obviously, I watch Tynan. I think you have to watch Tynan just because he's probably one of the best right now. And Marigali too. Yeah.
All right. So what's your ratio of gi to no-gi training right now? Well, obviously, because leading up to more grappling, but before that, what was the ratio?
Basically went 100 to 0, gi to no-gi, and then it swapped to 100 to 0, no-gi to gi.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I won the English championships at no-gi at blue belt, and that was the last time, I think 2018, I'm going to say. Yeah, 2018. So 6 years ago was the last time I competed no-gi. I was a little bit nervous. And I was teaching no-gi like the past couple of years, but I wasn't really training it properly. Yeah. Like a pro training. I would just spar with the members and stuff. So I kind of got my ass kicked a little bit for the first, not a little bit, a lot, for like the first like 2 months after Asians. Because we had Asians in the gi end of June. And then I had 3 weeks to prepare for this basically. So I just tried to stick with what I'm good at in the gi and translate that to no-gi. I wasn't trying to reinvent myself in a couple of weeks.
Right, okay.
But honestly, now since I've stopped training in the gi for the past month, like, I don't miss it.
You don't want to transition?
Yeah, I'm like, man, like my finger is really busted up now. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Jesus.
So like, man, no-gi is nicer on the hands.
That's what everyone says. Everyone says that like my fingers feel so much better, and then when you go back into it, for example, your finger, like you end up ripping all the skin off your knuckles basically because like your skin's gonna heal from all the trauma.
My body feels so much better doing no-gi. My knees feel worse, but everything else was better.
Yeah, that's what I found as well.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be a little bit more balanced now, maybe like 60-40 gi to no-gi. But the problem is in Japan, I think the market is much more gi. Maybe that's a judo influence, but
I think it's that's part of it. And I think it's just with most salarymen and stuff like that as well. Like they're probably going to go towards gi instead of getting like they can't ship to work with a black eye, right?
But it doesn't make sense, right? Like if you're transporting on the train, transiting on the train, like you want to carry as little things as possible, right? Like no gi would make so much more sense for training after work, but everyone's happy to like pack a sweaty gi in their bag and carry it around. And
I think it's just because of like the trains have been so like scrunched up with people. You want that other layer of distance between you and other people, right? I think it has something to do with the layer of clothing. And from what I understand, my friend JB was coaching at Carpe Diem in Hong Kong, and he said like people don't like to sweat.
Really? They're doing the wrong sport.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Yeah, because it's a financial like city, right? I think it's a little bit different. Yeah, and Thai people some of them do, but in general, I think the people that are like high, so they don't want to have tan skin, for example. The same in Japan. You want to have like pearly white skin, and and you don't want to have to end up sweating and looking like your makeup running and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, it's not a glamorous sport.
Yeah,
I think Carpe Diem's done a good job of marketing it in like not glamorous, but a little bit more like.
Well, you guys have like celebrities going to Master Worlds now, right? Yeah. So it's pretty.
Yeah, Hido's done a great job of like. I mean, I can't speak much for the other gyms because I haven't really been there. But I spent a lot of time at Hido, and they got like a lot of famous actors coming through. Probably not famous worldwide, but domestically, like real big names. I keep seeing the TV. I'm like I recognize that guy's face or something, and like he's training at Carpe Diem now. And
they're good at kind of like giving people their privacy as well. I think. Yeah. And Japan's quite good about respecting privacy. I feel like. Very well.
Sometimes.
No? Really? Oh, really?
I mean, it depends who you are, right? If you're a politician, they'll probably sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
If you're like a famous idol or something, I think if they can get clicks out of it, they'll.
Fair enough.
I'll get you, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I do have a few privates with some influencers as well, and then when they see them on like social media, you'll get customers asking about, they're going to be here and stuff like that. For example, like Mikey's doing his camp, for example. Just any Tom, Dick, and Harry ends up showing up trying to train with him, basically. But he's got a set small group of people that he trains with, and he won't let other people in.
Like he has to. Like imagine some guy just comes, tries to test himself against him, breaks his leg, can't compete. Like
so I think it was like 2 days before his first match in Thailand, and the national team came in, and I guess there was a bit of like a difference in communication, but I just told the head coach, Dot, I just said, no pohara. Like, you guys can move around with him, but he's going to be competing quite soon. And then the national team just went, like, tried to smash him, basically. And they're like, that's enough. He was nice about it, but yeah, obviously he killed them. But like, after 2 rounds, he's like, okay, no, that's enough, basically. And
I think that's the style with the Thai national team, though. They're like, you know, kind of...
It's competitive jiu-jitsu, right? And
they're doing it for a living, right?
Exactly. So it's, exactly. So it's not as relaxed, basically.
Yeah. It's not like malicious, but I can tell, like, before a match, it's not what you need.
Exactly. Yeah, actually, I just heard recently down the line that have you ever trained with Maga? I don't know if you've met him. He's friends with Shams. He trains and teaches down in Phuket Grappling Academy now, but he's got a match with Sarah now. I don't know if I'm allowed to actually say.
Oh no, I spoke to Sarah. He told me, because she said they matched up before.
Yeah, I think it was trials. No. It could have been another competition, but yeah.
I think ONE FC doesn't want us to say this, but...
Yeah. We'll release this around September time, so it should be fine, basically, because it'll be Joseph and Kent the first to lead up to...
I was just told, like, the rules were kind of weird, but I wasn't allowed to tell who my opponent was going to be until they announce it, but then they don't announce it until, like, the week of. Yeah. Which is fair enough, because they have cards every week, right? They don't want to promote, like, stuff too far in advance. Yeah. But yeah, Sarah told me he's got a match next month. Yeah, which is good for him. The guy that he's going up against, I know him personally as well. He rolls super hard, and he's one of the guys that that Mikey was like, nope, I'm not rolling with you, because you'll move around, and apparently, like, if he can't do what he wants to do, he's just going to knee cut into your face or your chest, basically. So, but I mean, it's Russian style as well, right? Yeah. So. Yeah, that'll be an interesting match then. Yeah, him and Sarah. I know Sarah fought him at the trials, I think, and he beat him. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's good. A bit of history there. Yeah, it was funny. I was speaking to Ishikawa about Sarah as well. And like, Sarah, all he wants to do is get stronger. He just wants to get better, basically. Yeah, and like, he is the one guy that if I ever catch him in a choke, like, most people tap when it's checkmate, right? Like, he waits for me to like get tired whilst I'm choking him, and like, it works sometimes. Like, like, he's so tough. He's so tough. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him compete. Yeah.
I remember I only ever visited. How many Carbon DMs have I visited? I've visited Mita because I was going to take a Thai-Japanese ONE FC fighter. She's retired now, but I was going to take her to Tokyo Tower. So Mita was the closest branch there. And it was when Iwasaki-san was teaching there still. Man, he's really good as well. Yeah. Yeah. Good pressure. I was actually really surprised at how, like, you don't usually get that kind of smash pressure from people, like, from Japanese people. So it kind of surprised me a little bit. Yeah. He's good. He's very, very good. I've heard Iwasaki-san said, like, his gyms now, like, it's just at capacity, and they need to expand, or they need to build a second branch. Yeah, because it's just great. Like, they're so busy now. Yeah, he's down in Kobe. Yeah, he's doing good things. Yeah. So you say prior 2 years ago, when you were still studying instructionals, which ones were your favorite?
What did I learn the most from? Probably Ryan Hall. I picked up the most from. I liked his like conceptual approach with a little bit of techniques involved too. Yeah. But not too like technique orientated. Yeah. And I think he's very good at articulating jiu-jitsu.
I think so, yeah.
That was why I learned better from matches, because most guys aren't good at articulating what they're doing, and it's better to just watch them. Yeah. I would joke with my students a lot. I was like, if you guys are going to watch instructionals, like, watch it on mute. Yeah. Turn the volume off and just watch and see if you can learn with your eyes. Yeah. And sometimes that actually makes you more engaged, so you can learn better. But yeah, I'd say Ryan Hall. Watched a little bit of the Danaher stuff, but honestly, I would normally get to like part 3 or 4 and then be like, that's enough. Yeah. I don't think I've watched a single one of his instructionals all the way through.
Yeah, just say 2x is the speed and that's it, basically, yeah.
Yeah, 2x and then rewind when you get to an important part. Yeah.
So in terms of like, obviously, like, you learn from instructionals, and you say that like watching matches are really important as well. But what do you think about like what's trending in the US just now with like ecological stuff? Do you think that kind of training is better, or do you think it should be a mix of like instruction and that kind of training, basically?
I mean, for me, like, if my own training is basically all ecological, then like, why should I teach other people not ecologically? Yeah. Like, what I noticed with me and the other athletes is the time spent drilling is not very high. Yeah. And if you are drilling, you're drilling what you want to drill. Yeah. Whereas when everyone teaches, they'll teach and they'll make everyone drill what the instructor wants to drill. And that's not necessarily the best for everyone. Yeah, I agree. It's difficult. There's no correct answer. I think efficiency-wise, yes, like training with a constraints-led approach ecologically is best for progression and skill acquisition. But motivation-wise, it's not always the best because it's more difficult. It is easier. Like you said in the Hong Kong, they didn't want to sweat, right?
Yeah.
For them, it's easier to turn up and like practice a couple techniques, spar a little bit, and go home.
Yeah.
Than it is to like keep butting your head against the wall, trying to find an answer ecologically.
So a good question there is like, how's a class structured in a class that you teach, for example? Then
for me, like I don't like to spend too long warming up. I think the best way to warm up with jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu.
Exactly.
So I normally warm up with some kind of activity where you're, like the thing I don't like most is if I go to jiu-jitsu class, and I notice sometimes when I was traveling around training different places, I would look at the clock and like I would see how long it would take for me to be able to touch another person.
Yeah.
Like what is jiu-jitsu about? Is like how you can control another person. I know some classes I haven't touched anyone else and it's been 20 minutes. And like,
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
At that point, like you're just doing calisthenics.
Yeah.
You know, if you haven't touched anyone. So the quicker I can get people to engage, also for beginners or people who are new to the gym, it breaks the ice a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Like you got to get over that comfort barrier. And from there, I would try and like explore different positions and try and teach using the constraint style approach. But I would also like to give some kind of technique afterwards, because for me, like I see technique as answers to issues. Whereas most people teach technique first. Like traditionally it's like warm up, technique, spar, right? Or sometimes warm up, technique, position, spar. But I'd rather switch the position, spar and technique around. So you practice first, you encounter some problems, and then the instructor will, if it's necessary, give you some techniques, give you some idea of like what you should be looking for to help you. So like, problem first, answer second is how I like to teach.
That's good. And you're okay to just go free rein like that, or they don't say you have to structure it like this?
Yeah, for the most part, like it depends on which carpe diem you're teaching at. But Thomas was always like, very encouraging to me. He let me teach how I wanted to teach, and he'd step in when he needed to and give me feedback if people gave feedback.
Yeah.
But that's the other good thing about carpe diem is if you don't like my classes, like you can train someone else's class. If you don't like their classes, you can train at mine, or maybe they're both good for different things. Like there's no perfect way to coach ever.
Some people like it one way, other people like it the other
Even
way.
scientifically, if it's shown that this is more effective, a lot of times I think like research studies, they don't take into account like motivation, group cohesion, use of language, stuff like that. Like there's so many factors that go into like skill acquisition. Sometimes when you go to training, you just don't feel like learning. You're not going to learn anything that this teacher shows you. Yeah. You know, like your body, maybe your muscle memory is going to get a little better. You're going to get better timing. But if you're not open to like what your instructor is showing you, then chances of you learning something is very low.
That's very true, actually. I never thought of that.
Yeah. It's almost like how you can motivate the room is almost more important than what jiu-jitsu you know. Yeah. But again, that's different for different people. Some people like militaristic style, other people like hands-off style, other people like relaxed style. You know, you look in the US and you've got gyms where people are like smoking joints and training, at the same time. And like, you got other gyms where the guy's like making everyone do 100 push-ups because they were 2 minutes late. Yeah. And like, I don't think that's the same market of clients, right? Yeah, exactly. So you got to be able to read your room and coach according to your room. That leads me into the next question. Which country do you think is the fastest growing in terms of grappling? And we're just talking about Asia. Asia? Yeah. Korea. Korea. South Korea. Why do you think that is? Like just the Asians last month, the Koreans were on the podium, like every podium. And they were good. Yeah. Doing really well, giving hard matches. Whenever I like matched up against a Korean guy, like I always know he's going to be strong. Yeah. Like physically. I don't know if it's because of the military thing. I think that's part of it, yeah. But they all love jiu-jitsu as well. Yeah. Like they're so, I don't know, whenever I go against one of them, I feel like they're really motivated. They really don't want to lose. Yeah. Which is cool. That's important for winning. Mm-hmm. And I always see like so many gyms popping up, so many people doing seminars in Korea. Yeah. Yeah, I find that interesting because I've never been, but I think, because like I remember when I started BJJ Asia, I was trying to like index all the gyms in the various countries basically, but I think the one country where I couldn't, well, China because of the social media is different there obviously, but then like trying to find like information in English for Korea was next to impossible, so I just gave up basically. And the only ones that did kind of pop up in English were like I think it was like Carpe Diems basically, and the first one I think in Korea was like Busan maybe. Yeah. I don't know how many there are now, but there's quite a few, and I see them all doing really well. Yeah. The thing I noticed with Korea as well, there's a lot more women participating. Like in Asia, maybe it's a more Asian culture thing, is women don't partake in contact sports as much. Yeah. But in Korea, like some of the classes almost like 50-50, which is great. So they're doing something right for sure.
And that's another thing I find interesting, because like for the guys, or like it being a big trend for guys in Korea, for example, you can explain it with military service, but for females, is it military service as well, maybe? Or is it, I think they've managed to market it where it's like, it's a trending thing to do, and then taking care of yourself is a big deal in Korea as well, with the plastic surgery and the slim body and stuff like that as well.
I mean, I just see what I see on social media, but the gyms all look very clean, presentable. You know, they have nice showers and stuff like that. It's not like a dirty, smelly underground like MMA gym.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
because even the MMA gyms look nice and clean and very aesthetically pleasing as well.
Yeah, it's important. Like, yeah, we've got to move away from like the 1990s, like, you know, underground boxing gym. Like, if you want the sport to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Especially if you want to go mainstream and like the 95 people are training as well. So yeah, in terms of competitions, what's your next goals?
Honestly, I don't have any.
Oh, really?
I kind of moved away from competition. I didn't move away, but it's never been like one of my goals or dreams to be world champion.
Yeah.
I always trained hard and stuff, but for me, like coaching was something that I enjoy a lot more. I like, you know, raising a team and like being with my students, and it's much harder to coach the everyday 9-to-5 guy than it is to coach the prodigy 16-year-old.
Well, he's motivated. He's going to train anyway, regardless if you're there or not.
Yeah, it's kind of like they become a world champion at your gym, as opposed to like you raise a world champion, or you know, train someone from no potential to like, okay, they're starting to win matches now.
Yeah, and it tends to like positively impact their life as well, especially when they're 9-to-5 people as well.
Yeah.
Ishikawa said the same thing as well. He's like, I don't really care about competitors anymore. Like, it's nice to have like guys that are motivated to compete and like win, but he finds it much more rewarding when it comes to coaching the 9-to-5 people, and it really helps out, because he told one story where this like little old lady came in. Well, not little old, let's say middle age, came in. She was like, my husband stopped drinking. He's lost like 10 kg because of you. Thank you. And then I just said, so which one of your students was it? He's like, I have no idea. Which was pretty fun. It's like, okay, she didn't tell him then, basically. Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I think, but those people, I realize it's important for me to compete for them to see.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about jiu-jitsu. It's one of the only sports where competitive prowess is so important. Like no other sport, you wouldn't put the football manager, the judo coach, whatever, you wouldn't put them on the pitch or on the mat. But something about jiu-jitsu is they only respect you if you're good at the sport.
Exactly.
I hope that can start to change. I think it is starting to change.
Yeah. People
like Danaher, the new guy at B Team, Adima, and other people coming through.
Yeah.
I think it's good in Southeast Asia because they have like Toto, he's coaching here, right?
Yeah.
And he's not still competing himself as far as I'm aware.
He does sometimes, but it's maybe once a year at most, just because he's so busy. Because especially when you're getting funding from the government as well.
Yeah.
Politics play a major role in it as well.
Yeah. But it's good, like they have a coach, you know, whereas most gyms right now, it's still like you have a competitor who teaches you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't want to like keep jumping either side. I want to kind of transition more into being a coach and start to raise a team. So,
yeah, this leads, so this comes to the next thing is you told me that you're not working at you're not working at Carpe Diem Jiugaoka anymore.
Yeah, so last year in end of August, I stopped teaching there. Did a bit of traveling, went around a little bit. And I want to open a gym under my own brand, hopefully in the next half a year.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of your own brand, would it be like associated with like a Carpe Diem or a Gracie Baja or something like that? Or is it just something that you want to build yourself?
No, I want to start my own affiliation. Yeah. And nothing bad against Carpe Diem. Like they've been nothing but great to me.
Yeah.
But I think as you got the impression from Ishikawa-san, like it starts to change as the franchise gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And that's great business wise. But for me, like I want to do business with people who I actually know. And if there's 30 different gyms just in the country, I don't know what someone's doing so-and-so. And most of the reflection is positive, like if I'm also under the same brand, but then all the negative stuff also comes with that. And if it's like a team that I'm putting all my time and energy into, like I want to be in control of like what we're doing and what we represent and what we stand for.
Yeah.
So I thought about like 10 years from now, like where do I want my team to be? I'd rather it be like something that we built, even if it was harder initially, because we have no brand, basically zero brand right now, right?
Yeah.
But I think in 10 years from now, like I'll want to look back on it and be happy that I made
that. Be more
choice.
rewarding as well, yeah.
Oh, so
yeah. Ishikawa said the same thing as well. When he first started with Tsuyoshi before he moved to the UK, he was like, apparently like Tsuyoshi came up to him and he's like, this is all we have left in the till, which is like a 5,000 yen note. And he's like, Right, okay, I'll figure it out, basically. And he says he really appreciated that kind of struggle initially when he opened up his own gym as well. So, yeah, I think
it's amazing.
It's better to have a story like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ishikawa-san's doing great now. Like,
yeah.
I don't think I'll get to that level, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think in terms of his competitive career as well, that was cut short, unfortunately, because of his daughter being ill initially as well. But fascinating character, I find. And he broke them all, so it's like, yeah, he made a huge impact on jiu-jitsu in Japan. So in terms of competitors as well, who's your favorite?
Oh, good question. I mean, Meiram in the gi, for sure. I love watching Meiram.
Yeah.
I think he's changing the game. Like, he's probably one of the only, well, he's a featherweight now, but light featherweights that doesn't pull guards. And I'm a guard player myself. Yeah. But I think it's so interesting seeing someone, like now he's got good judo, pretty decent wrestling, and he's got good guard, but his passing is just incredible. Yeah, I think he's so good to watch. These kind of dynamic players. I'm a closed guard guy, so I used to watch a lot of Hudson Mateus. Yeah. He's been away for a long time now.
He had some kind of like catastrophic knee issue, right?
I think, yeah, there's a lot of things going on. But he doesn't speak English, so I don't really see him post on social media or anything. But he was always great to watch when he'd compete. Nogi, I like watching. I like watching J-Rod. Again, he's very interesting to watch. Like, keeps it dynamic. Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate good jiu-jitsu, but to watch, like, I want to watch dynamic stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there are many grapplers out there better than J-Rod, but I'd rather watch J-Rod.
Yeah.
Because he's exciting. And this is where, like, I'm kind of conflicted, because should jiu-jitsu reward the people who are the best, or should it reward people who are the best to watch?
Yeah.
You know? So I like that he keeps getting, like, high-profile matches, even though he keeps losing. Because, you know, people want to watch him.
It's like win one, lose one kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the ones that get remembered, they're the finishers, right?
Right.
It's like Hodger, Marcelo, basically.
Right. But I mean, me personally, I haven't watched the Gordon Ryan match for a long time for entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, I'll watch him to study because he's the best. But I'm like, if I competed like him at 1FC on Friday, like, I don't think anyone would have cared, right? If I did heavy collar ties, tie the guy out, pass his half guards, and then, I don't know, head arm choke him. It's, yes, you can't complain with results, but...
Yeah. That's true.
It's not as exciting to watch.
Yeah.
So, but again, that's why I say I'm conflicted, because I know that's more effective jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But it's not watchable.
Yeah.
And 1FC are trying to make jiu-jitsu watchable, right? So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
it's up to me to make that happen.
Yeah. So in terms of like like accelerating the growth of jiu-jitsu, do you feel like it has to be where like people are more dynamic and like go for broke type of like?
I think for watching, yes.
Yeah.
Like, I've been watching a lot more judo recently. And I know people complain a lot that they keep changing the rules in judo, but I really like how quickly they penalize stalling in judo. Like, if you're on the feet, like, then they just stiff arming. Within 10 seconds, they'll tell them, like, you got to move. Okay. And I think it's 3 yellow cards, 3 warnings, and you get DQ'd.
Wow, okay, I didn't know. Okay.
But again, the thing with jiu-jitsu is the rules are so subjective. Like, I've seen 2 people in the same position, and sometimes they'll get penalized after 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't get penalized for like 3 minutes. You know?
Yeah, it really just depends. Yeah.
So I think I would like to see the rules push it towards being a bit more dynamic.
Yeah.
But I don't know the right way to do that.
I mean, everyone's tried to change the rules. Like ADCC, unfortunately, like I feel like some people are a lot more strategic. They wait for 3 minutes and then.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Whatever rule set you make, people are going to game it.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see like a CGI with the shorter round times.
It was a little bit similar to the ABJJC. They had that kind of like rush.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to that.
I used to watch that.
And IGA as well, yeah. So I think that's the way it's going to be formatted. Yeah. So, well, let me put the sound on. So, in terms of the match, like, did you do any study of him? Because I don't think there's a lot of like high-profile matches he's had, because it's like national team competitions.
I had a little look, but yeah, it was hard to find much. And Shams told me as well he's a gi guy too. So yeah, it was 2 gi guys doing a no-gi match, which is
that basically was going to be like in Asia for a while, I think. Yeah. How did you find like prepping and everything for 1FC? I mean, like you've obviously now like this is your first kind of like in the ring kind of grappling match, right?
Yeah. I mean, that was my first time ever going inside a ring as well, which is a little bit scary, but I just tried to focus. You know, it's just still jiu-jitsu, still a mat. Yeah. Just stick to what I know.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to look for the back here, trying to control 2-on-1, but he kept disengaging until, like, he could get a good grip. Yeah. Yeah, I knew I had it.
Yeah.
Once I broke that grip, it was tight.
So what's the technical reasoning for crossing your ankles? Because you always get told never cross your ankles, right? But it's just so they don't explode out of the situation.
I think crossing your ankles is okay. It's more about like squeezing them together. And for me, like if I cross the ankles, it allows me to lock everything in, allow me to hamstring curl a little bit better. I don't really have strong legs. So for me, I just want to close everything tight.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want his head to come back inside, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oof. It's a flying armbar. Yeah.
Depends how, I mean, it looked not flying because he went down with me. But I went for it because he kept doing like heavy collar ties.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to come out a lot more upright and do foot sweeps and stuff because I heard he's got good foot sweeps. But I was surprised, like when he was posturing down like this, and you're like, okay, I have to go for it. Like, it's
I was kind of wondering why I was hanging on so much after the first attempt as well.
Yeah, because I thought because I've done this before and it's on my social media, so I thought he was expecting it. But man, when people put that heavy collar tie on me, like I always feel like this is there. So you want me to break it down?
Yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
Basically, I used to do a lot of flying submissions when I was blue belt.
Yeah.
But then I told myself, like, I'm not going to do it anymore because I kept winning matches against people better than me.
Yeah.
By just doing flying submissions. And I was like, I'm not improving at jiu-jitsu. So like, I need to learn how to pass guard. I need to learn how to like do real jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any flying stuff basically all through purple and brown.
Oh, right. Okay.
So on this side, I went with the outside hook on his arm. So you see he collar ties me and all I want to do is control his elbow. Yeah. I'm controlling with my right hand right now. And then that's why I slip off because I haven't got a good grip and it doesn't like break his posture as well. Like I have to let go of his head as I jump. So if you see here, after I jump, his head slips out. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And I lose the elbow.
Yeah.
But if you go to the finish, I switch my grips to the cross grip. And I forgot how to do it because I hadn't done this since blue belt. It's actually funny. Like the morning of the match, I went back on my Instagram to check how I do it.
Yeah.
And I remember like, oh yeah, I got to do the cross grip.
Right.
So if you see on the actual finish, I think they'll play it in slow motion. You can't see it from that angle. But I basically switch it up so that my left hand, I'm going cross grip on his collar tie. And there you go. You see how I go around his head with my right hand instead? And that allows you to break the posture a lot better when they go down.
So your left arm was in the elbow?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and you see my right hand can really pull on his neck and that will break the posture. Because I didn't break the posture the first time.
Yeah.
And that's why I lost it.
Right. Aesthetic sponsored him and stuff like that as well. And technically Dot's part of our association. He's got his own gym now as well. But like our head coach Andy's the guy that like started teaching the national team jiu-jitsu. So it's kind of grown out of that. But they've since then kind of started making their own team and stuff like that as well. But it's still by and large because of the it's where the money goes basically, right? So it's still very much a very gi orientated like team basically right now. So the nogis, they haven't really caught up yet quite on top of it. It's like even with like Asian trials, I think there's maybe two like actual Thai competitors.
Really, even though they do it in Thailand?
Yeah, I like, and I said, Dot, you do realize like they're gonna get to go to like ADCC, and he was like, oh, I didn't know that basically, and it was kind of like too late by then to get ready for it. Yeah,
damn.
Yeah, so it's mostly the Australians dominating, and then there were some different countries that came in.
Yeah. I mean, they used to do it in Japan.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened after COVID. Everything changed. But yeah. A lot of Australians. Yeah,
it's interesting actually because the guy that organizes everything, I think he's moved back to Japan now, but he used to run a Synergy BJJ in Singapore, and he was kind of like the head of ADCC in Southeast Asia basically. But it was interesting listening to like Mateos as well because he was saying he was trying to make the argument that the under 77 division in Europe is probably more competitive than the US.
Potentially.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of like unspoken like Polish guys there that like people don't know about basically.
I know about them.
Oh, do you know about them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they are very good, yeah. I mean, that's why I think like Polaris is doing a really good job in inviting these guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like if you see, what's his name? Elijah, he won the US trials, right?
Yeah.
And then Tommy matched up against him at Worlds a couple months later and beat him. And then Tommy won the second trials, but he lost to Joseph in the first trial. So yeah, I definitely think in the lower weight classes, Europe is pretty strong. Yeah,
I think so as well. Like, and I think back when I was still training in the UK as well, I think it was like the most number of black belts were the UK and a very close second with the Polish as well.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's the way it was structured as well. But then still very much when I was still there, and that was like maybe 2014, 15 still. I think the most prevalent teams were like, it was in London's. I was at the Dartmouth Judo Club for the British Open, I think it is, and it's the Carlson Gracie guys that run it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's funny the way like competitors like move in and out with different teams, because a lot of the guys that used to train at Cross and Gracie, they moved over to Hodger basically.
Right.
I don't know what the reasoning is. Maybe it's just like soured relationships or associations or something like that. Even I can't remember who it was. Yeah, because like the guy that just won the trials under 77, Taylor Pearman, for example, he was under Carson Gracie until like blue purple belt, I think.
He's a ZR team, right?
He is,
I don't know if he still is now.
I think it's because his coach Alan Pozo moved over there as well.
Right.
But I'm guessing it's.
Yeah, he did good, huh?
He did really well. Yeah, I remember watching him. Like he was just like cold serial killer eyes, and he used to footlock everyone at blue belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first question is your thoughts on CGI, so the Craig Jones Invitational, versus what the ADCC is doing right now. What do you think about it?
I love it. I love what CGI is doing. I love that they're paying the athletes, getting good exposure. Yeah, I mean, the pit as well looks so fun. Like I was saying earlier about being more dynamic, I think it will let people be more dynamic, and I'm really excited to see that. I think the Rotola brothers are going to do something crazy.
Yeah.
Some like backflip into a DAS off the wall or something. Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Nice. Good answer. So, Craig Jones versus Gabby, your predictions?
Oh my God. I hope it goes longer than 1 minute. But man, I took a photo with her at Worlds, and she is scary.
Yeah,
like,
she's huge.
She was lovely. She was very kind to us, but like I was like, I would not want to be, I would not want to be stuck in the pit with her for 5 or 3 rounds or 15 minutes or whatever it is.
Something like that.
But, I think she can do it.
You think she could?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm rooting for her.
Yeah. It's good to dump on Craig as well, I suppose. Yeah. So I remember watching the video and watching when I saw Renato Laranja, I was like, oh, here we go. And then I think part of the clip, he just said hepatitis 3, and I just I just lost it. Yeah. So funny. So what's your thought on, as Taco says, it shithouse submissions like mother's milk and buggy chokes, etc.?
Well, buggy choke, I love buggy chokes.
They were.
My plan was to actually buggy choke on.
Oh, really?
But then I found out the slams were legal, so I had to cancel that one out.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, because I'm not a nogi guy, so I kept getting my guard passed, and buggy chokes were like really saving me this past month.
Right. So
I'm all for the buggy choke.
Yeah.
Mother's milk, not really for my builds, but I wouldn't like to be mother's milk, but if I could do it, yeah, I'm all down for it. A tap is a tap, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, as long as no one's getting hurt.
A tap is a tap. I see mother's milk is good.
He doesn't like
No. Some people get.
No, buggy chokes are great.
Yeah.
Just don't break your own knee doing it.
Yeah, I saw that. My friend actually dislocated his finger at ADCC doing that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because it was like 1 minute left, and I think it was 2 points down, and the guy went for a takedown, and he tried to grab his own. I don't know if his hand got caught, but basically when he was trying to lock the buggy, I just saw his like wedding ring finger, and I was like bent the other one. I was like, oh, he broke his. He dislocated his finger. Well, he still tried to finish it, which is pretty admirable though.
Yeah.
So how do you find the new trend of like obviously in gyms now, quite a lot of gyms you have like CCTV,
right?
And how do you find that new trend that you see at like B team of like people like highlighting their roles and stuff like that?
Ooh, it's good when you're not on the receiving end of the highlight. Yeah, man. Like, I'm sure you know this because you train, but like there's so many moments in training like, oh, I wish I could like go back and watch that. Like, I think it's nice to have like a compilation of like all the things you've done. Does it need to be public? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fun. Like, I don't mind if someone does something cool to me in training. I don't really care if they post it.
Yeah.
But some people just take it so seriously. Like, I see some people flow rolling, and like one good guy's getting messed up because of flow roll, and then the comments are like, wow, like this guy sucks, and like, just
have thick skin in general with
just training,
social media.
Yeah. Don't worry about what the comments say, but I like it.
It. So dudes that only wear spats during nogi training.
There's not even a question. It's just a statement.
Yeah. Your thoughts though, because like some gyms do it.
Me personally, I always will wear shorts.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's not hurting anyone, but I would prefer if they wear shorts on top of the spats.
100%. I agree with you on that one.
It's just a little bit too close for comfort.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just like, maybe I'm just like insecure, you know? But
yeah, for guys especially, you don't want the balls in your head and like.
I mean,
north, south.
like,
I'm just saying.
No, all right. Has anyone ever complained about someone wearing shorts? No. But has anyone ever complained about someone just wearing spats?
100%. Yeah.
So if you don't want to offend anyone, just wear shorts.
Yeah. I mean, even like, but then for some reason, girls get away with it though.
Yeah, maybe it's just culture, isn't it? So
Yeah.
socially acceptable.
Yeah, and
I mean, even if it
yeah.
was jiu-jitsu, right, and you're out and you see someone running and they're not wearing shorts, and they're just in their spats, you like do a double take and you're like,
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
nasty as hell.
So
Yeah.
I'm team shorts
Yeah.
personally,
All right. Okay.
but I'm not gonna kick someone out my class if they don't wear
Yeah.
shorts.
I've had a few situations where I've told people to put shorts on, to be honest. Yeah.
So-
Like, it really just depends on who the head coach is. Some people mind, some people
What
don't.
are you gonna say? It depends on who's wearing the spats.
It does a little bit.
You can wear
sometimes,
spats,
yeah.
but you know.
Yeah. So this is actually a good question, just because both you and I share Japanese DNA as well. But the overuse of like kanji and like jiu-jitsu wear, like gis, spats, you know, like
The
some people-
design.
like the designs, or maybe even like some people having like samurai tattooed on their arm and stuff. Because you'll never see a Japanese person wearing it, right? Okay. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think there's a reason why like tatami doesn't have a Japan branch. Like, I have nothing against tatami.
Yeah.
I actually really like the gis. The material is good.
Yeah.
And people in the UK love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna catch me wearing a samurai rash guard.
But
that's why I like Kings.
Yeah,
So shout out to Kings for sponsoring me, but very simple, clean design. But they recently they started to do some stuff with the kanji on, and yeah, I mean it sells well in the West.
Yeah, not in the East.
But even worse, you should see what the Japanese people wear that says like what it says in English.
Yeah.
You know, like
That's true.
like it says some,
Yeah.
like it just doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah.
You know. But
At the same time, you could argue like Scramble, like, well, they don't really do.
But from what I'm aware is that the guy who does Scramble, he lived in Japan for a
Yeah.
while. I can even see like in his designs, he understands Japanese culture a little bit. It's a little less cringe,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
So thank you, Matt from Scramble, for doing
Yeah,
that.
I think he walks the line well. But
Yeah,
some of
he
the other
does.
brands is like,
Yeah.
like well, we're not all samurais. We're just doing jiu-jitsu, you know. Like,
Good.
but if it sells, you know, like it's business.
Yeah,
So,
it's true. It's true. So, gym romances. All right.
I mean, like, just as long as you're doing your jiu-jitsu and you're not bothering other people, yeah, just
Should be okay.
let everyone be adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So,
But I think like I don't know. You always hear the bad stories. You don't really hear the good stories. But man, like I know so many people from jiu-jitsu who, you know,
married,
happily
have a kid and
settled
stuff
and
like that. Yeah.
and like good for them. And I think especially like in the modern day, like what people are missing is like ways to meet people, and that's why like
That's
online
true.
dating is taken off and stuff. So yeah, if you're both respectful and people are adults, yeah. But the problem is when people aren't adults or. You know,
See, okay. So, I think that applies for student to student. How about coach and student?
yeah.
That's a good topic, right?
Again, like let adults be adults, but who. Yeah, case by case, right?
Yeah.
Because again, then sometimes that does work out.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not gonna be the relationship police, but
Fair enough.
yeah, just be respectful of everyone, regardless of your standing. Because some gyms, like man, the coach, he's not like. Oh, in some gyms, the coach, he or she is like the all what do you call it? The one who is worshipped.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and like yeah, that can be
Depends
a
on
bit
the
messy.
gym culture as well.
But
Very, very much.
If there's a gym and there's 10 coaches, maybe that student doesn't even train at that coach's class.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's like.
Adult.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't want to get too controversial. So the smelly gear or the smelly rash guard guys, do you say something or do you not say something, especially in Japan? Start.
Right. If it repeat offender, definitely say something.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's hard, isn't it? Like, because sometimes it's not even the clothes that's smelly; it's the person that's smelly. Like, I can say like, dude, like your gi smells like. Take the rental today, but I can't be like, dude, like have a shower.
Yeah.
If they're a repeat offender, then I think something needs to be said. But I think like most people, they approach it indirectly, and at the end of the class, they'll just be like, guys, make sure you wash your gi. Blah,
Yeah.
blah. A lot of times, the smelly guy doesn't even realize it's him.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, just don't offend them. Let them know that you're doing it for a good reason, and there's nothing personal.
or take them to the side maybe like later on or something.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you don't want to call someone out in front of the whole class, right? But like, definitely squish it before it becomes a bigger issue. And I'd rather like save 10 people from one smelly person than save one smelly person's feelings and have 10 people be like, man, this.
Yeah.
Because I've rolled with smelly people and it's just not.
Worst thing in the world.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
But man, like in Japanese summer and stuff, like it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hot. Like we have aircon, but you can get smelly just like on your commute to the gym.
That's
So,
true, yeah.
But yeah, repeat offenders definitely something needs to be said.
Yeah. I feel like in Japan it's not going to be, in Asia it's not that bad. I feel like in the UK it was like 10 times worse.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what that is.
I think it's hygiene levels. Japan is a very hygienic country.
It's hygiene, yeah, hygiene levels, yeah, I think so. Yeah, because like with the UK, but I think it's something to do with genetics as well. I find okay, that's fine. I'm gonna just say my piece. But like Europeans in general, I just feel like they have a stronger odor. Like, right?
Apparently, there's like the gene, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sweat gene.
I don't have the gene, luckily.
You don't have the smelly one, or you don't have the?
I don't have the smelly gene.
Yeah, me too.
So,
like I can sweat, and it doesn't really smell that bad.
Yeah,
but
that's why Asian blood is better.
Yeah.
Slightly racist. All right, okay. So the last question is.
One more.
Yeah, just one last question. Who'd you like to thank?
Man, well, I could go on for days. Firstly, definitely my parents. I couldn't do any of this without them. Just always supporting me and being there for me. Everyone at Carpe Diem, everyone is so kind, again, so supportive as well. Train with me, help with me, supporting me, just in all sorts of ways. You having me here. Like, this is my first in-person podcast, so yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, like I'm just blessed to like have so many good people in my life. Like I feel like whenever I have something going on, there's someone there to help me out with it, and too many people to thank. But thank you so much to all those people. They know who they are. Yeah. So I'm not gonna name names.
Yeah. Yeah. Gratitude. I always that's like the last chapter I always write at the end is like gratitude, basically, when people are yeah
man, like it's an individual sport. I was the only one in the ring on that Friday, but like I did not get there by myself by any means. You know, like there's so many things had to happen for me to get there. And like one of the people I always thank, I said I wouldn't name names, but like Thomas, if he didn't believe in me and like asked me to come out to Japan, like I wouldn't be sat here right now. I wouldn't have had that match. I wouldn't have gone to Bangkok. So like, yeah, I really appreciate Thomas for kind of opening so many doors for me by letting me teach there.
Yeah, he kind of, I think one of the reasons why probably he has that like kansha no kimochi or like thankfulness and gratefulness is because like Ishikawa did the same for him basically. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially because he's like, he doesn't have Japanese blood in him, right? So it's much harder for a foreigner to work and live in Japan as well. And I think he was still a blue belt at the time when he decided to bring him on. So yeah.
He was teaching English to Ishikawa-san's daughter, I think, and teaching some kids classes. And
he just developed from there. And now he's got full ownership of the gym, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah. And his jiu-jitsu is very good, man.
Yeah.
So, guys, drop in at Jiugaka. I'm representing them right now, actually.
Yeah.
So,
that's a good one.
He's very artsy. He makes a good design.
You guys allowed to make your own like branded t-shirts? Yeah,
I think there's a couple regulations. You can't use the main logo, I think, but you can use the Carpe Diem.
All right.
So
okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, they just released a new gi and stuff. So
really?
Yeah, Thomas is always releasing cool stuff. So
that's cool.
Yeah, check them out.
I always really like the style and the rash guards. I think Carpe Diem's now so mainstream that like even if you don't train there, you'll wear their stuff basically.
There's no kanji.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why.
Exactly. No more kanji tatami. They're gonna hate us because of that, man. I'm okay with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.